Hello everyone, my name's Phil Calvert and a very warm welcome to the Financial Advisor Mastermind and Challenge. Throughout this week, advisors, leading experts and consultants to the financial planning profession are sharing amazing insights into just what makes a world-class financial advice business. Today I'm delighted to be speaking with someone who's an internationally renowned sales and marketing speaker who specializes in YouTube and video marketing. He has 2 international best-selling books to his name. He's presented in 58 countries, and his Sales Tips YouTube channel has notched up around 4 million views. His background is hardcore financial services, and he's no stranger to the world of financial advice. Let's give a warm welcome to Mr. Frank Furness. How are you, Frank?
Hey, great. Thanks so much for inviting me onto the program, and great to be speaking to all of you financial advisors. It's the world I come from. It's the world I love.
Fantastic. Great to see you, Frank. Now, you're based out of Orlando and London, but I suspect that's not a London accent I'm hearing.
No, that's a South African accent, and I actually started out life as a drummer in a rock band.
Wow.
Did that for about 7 years, had an amazing time, then got married, had to get a real job, and I had a friend who was a financial advisor. He had a swimming pool, tennis court, and a Mercedes, and I thought, that's what I'm going to do. Wow. I went in, I failed all my interviews, I failed all my aptitude tests, but I kept phoning that guy for 3 months every morning. When am I starting? And eventually he took me on.
Wow, that's superb. Now, your client list is absolutely amazing. You work with the British Olympic team, the Professional Cricketers Association. That's superb. You must have seen some really interesting organizations that you work with.
I see amazing. I love sports. So I work with a lot of sports organizations all over the world. And I think sports and sales are so similar. You've got to put in the hard work, you've got to practice, you've got to be coachable, and you've actually got to go and make it happen. It's all very similar kinds of things. And right now I'm working with some absolutely amazing multimillionaires in the US. I'm working with a guy who's 41. He owns the second biggest car wash in America. Does 20 million car washes at $7 a pop. I'm working with another guy, 41, who owns a bank that's setting the world alight, changing the whole world of banking, financial services. So I'm meeting amazing people and looking at what they're doing differently to the norm.
Yeah, I want to ask you about the bank in a minute or two, but let's just sort of take you back to it was about 1980. Tell us the company you were working for, what you were doing there, and what the world of financial services was like back then.
Right. Well, back then I had 3 weeks training, which is fantastic. Most companies don't give you that training anymore. We learned every sales technique, but really it was coming in and cold calling for 2 hours each day, working on the law of averages, 20 calls a day, 4 appointments, see 4 people, 1's not there, 1 won't know why you are there, see 2, sell 1. And in those days, I would actually go out 2 evenings a night, and I had to sit there, develop rapport, go through a whole fact find, get a rate book, actually do all of the rates, close the sale, fill in the forms, get 3 referrals, and leave.
Yeah.
It went really, really well. First year I was a top sales guy, then went on to build up a big sales team. I had 120 sales advisors. It was absolutely brilliant. And then 1993 moved over to London.
Yeah, amazing times. And that was Liberty Life, was it, as I recall?
That was Liberty Life, yeah. It was a fantastic company to work with, very innovative, amazing people. I had great training, and I think the best training ground in the world.
Yeah, I get the feeling that back in those days, there was a lot more excitement within the industry. It was very much an industry. There was a lot more passion. There was a lot more energy. Things have changed a bit, haven't they?
Oh, they have. And goals were massive. At that time, it was Paul J. Meyer and all of the guys, and we were forced to buy goal-setting sessions. And I did that. I'd been a poor musician. I had nothing before that, but I set a goal in my second year to travel the world for 3 months. My wife and I did that. I wanted to buy a house within a year. I did that. And that was fantastic because we did the old thing there of set a goal and then work your way backwards. And basically, how many people do you see each week? What's your closing ratio? And nothing much has changed except the route to getting in front of people is now very different.
Yeah, I think a lot of financial advisors and IFAs and financial planners would say that the days where they kind of sold a product are probably behind them now. But sales is still important, isn't it? Particularly when we're talking about selling ourselves, selling our services.
Well, it's so important. I mean, I came over to London in 1993. I joined 3 other financial advisors in London. And the one thing they did is they set my sights so high. So they gave me a target of 20,000 a month in commission income. That was in 1993. First month, without knowing one soul, knowing nobody in London or England, I did 14,000. Second month, 17, and then kept hitting my target. But the thing was, the 2 other guys I worked with, one's target was 40,000 and the other one was 60,000 a month in commission. What I didn't know was if I joined any other company in England, if I just did 5,000 a month, I would be number 1 in the company.
Yeah.
So they really set me huge targets, and whatever your targets are, you go out. That's what I learned from the sports people, is personal best. Just be the best you can be.
Really? And what else did you learn? What that is relevant today to financial advisors?
Well, everything is all about relationships. And what I learned when I came over to London was I love to sell to very wealthy people. I've always done that. So I had to mix in the right kind of circles. So what I did is, out of my pocket, I joined 2 of the biggest clubs in London and started mixing with all of those kind of people. And very soon they get to like you, they get to trust you, and then things start to happen.
Yeah.
And as you know, I'm a partner in a firm in London at the moment. Our top guy regularly earns 6 figures in 1 month, and he does exactly the same. He'll take £1,000 out of his own pocket, pay to go to a top charity do, sit with the best people, doesn't tell them what he does. All he does is develop relationships. When they like him, they trust him and ask him what he does. That's when the business gets done. So for me, everything is about mixing in the right circles and relationships.
Yeah, I met in fact, you were there many, many years ago. You and I were both speaking at an event in Singapore, and I met a financial planner from Australia, and really successful guy. And he used to do that. He used to put hand in his own pocket, and he used to train up accountants in the art and science of financial planning. Now, he knew accountants would never do the financial planning, but he knew, because of that relationship he was building with them, they would pass referrals onto them. So how did you get into the speaking world as well from there?
Well, when I came over in the first 4 years I was in England, without knowing a soul, I was amongst the top 5 advisors in the whole country. The first 2 years I qualified quarter of the table, then top of the table. I was producing huge amounts of business. And the big companies started taking notice and saying, who's this guy? Can he come and talk to our people? And they started asking me to come and speak at their conferences. And one day somebody offered to pay me money. And I thought, well, this is pretty cool, you know.
I saw that.
Nothing wrong with that. And I got a good taste for it, loved it, decided to go. We sold the business and I decided to go into speaking. I worked with a very big insurance company in London at that time called Royal Scandia. And they had a CEO, Mike, who I got on really well with. I spoke at their conference here, and he said, what if I had to sponsor you to go around the world speaking to brokers? And that was the start of my getting into the offshore and international financial advisor market, which I know like the back of my hand. I've spoken in just about every offshore country you can think about, you know, Dubai, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, all over the place. And from that got into the whole banking world, who also have financial advisors. I did a world tour with HSBC, speaking to all of their relationship managers, and it's just blossomed from there.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. You mentioned a bank earlier, and I know you met a guy, Dennis Vogel,
That's right.
a while back, and he's the CEO of Citizen State Bank, I think it is.
That's right.
And he's trying to really shake things up in banking and financial services, isn't he? Do you want to tell us a little bit about him?
Yeah, well, about 4 months ago, I spoke at Lambeau Field, which is the home of Green Bay Packers, and there was a whole lot of multi-millionaire entrepreneurs in the audience. There was one 28-year-old guy over there whose business is doing $70 million a year. But one of the guys over there was this youngster, Dennis, and he was like crazy. He was a party animal. But at the end of it, he said, I've got a bank, can you come in and work with us? And I said, okay. And on that trip, I didn't have time, but I actually went into his bank. And when I walked in, there was a coffee bar, there were freshly baked cookies, there was free popcorn. As I walked in, some lady came up to me, she gave me a big hug, and it was funky and it was like weird. And I thought, I love this organization. And he told me at the age of 30, he bought the bank, fired everybody, and brought on new staff, just based on the right attitude. He could teach him everything else, but attitude was the first thing. Changed the whole face of everything. Everything is funky. They play rock music when you walk in there. And I mean, like us as financial advisors, he did the hard stuff. He had one of the banks in a small town where nobody was banking with him, and the CEO of this bank went around knocking on doors, everybody in that town, introducing himself to them, and now he's killing every other bank. People are coming over to him in droves. Business people go in there because it's like Starbucks. They can drive in and get their coffee without doing any banking, or they can come and have a meeting there.
Yeah, I love that kind of disruptive approach, and no doubt all the others will be looking to try and copy him in at some point.
Yeah, and what he says, it's great if they try and copy him, but you've always got to be there first. And even if they copy him, they're not going to maintain the kind of things that he does. I mean, every Sunday afternoon he sits and he handwrites a note to every new client who signed up with his bank, you know. And it's those small little things that make a huge difference. No matter what kind of business you're in, what are the things that you're doing in your business that your competition is not doing? What is it that makes you unique or different to your competitors?
Yeah, I think he said he wanted to make the bank somewhere that people wanted to proactively go to. And I think there's similarities and parallels with financial advice as well, isn't there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I remember years ago, I was doing some work with an offshore financial services company in Hong Kong. And it was run by a Canadian Chinese lady. And she said, wait outside a certain station, somebody will pick you up. I waited there. Beautiful limo picked me up, and we went through the back streets of Hong Kong. And we went to a converted house. And I remember walking in there thinking, these are not financial advisors. There's beautiful streams, music playing. As soon as I got in, they introduced themselves. They took my phone away and they said, here's a menu. And they had every kind of drink you can imagine on there. And I thought, I'm in a hotel. You know, I'm not in a financial advisor. Lady came down and said, can I give you a tour of the place? We did a tour. It was fantastic. This is our research apartment. And then we went and sat in the magic garden with music and little streams and stuff. And I said, tell me about your financial advisors. And she says, we don't have financial advisors. We're all counselors. And she says, take a look around. And everywhere I just saw the words, live a life you love. And she says, our target market is millionaires in Hong Kong. We can't speak to them in their office. They are so busy. So what we do, we send the limo out, we bring them in, we take their phone away, we give them whatever drink they want, we give them the warm-up tour, and we sit and we just talk about living the life that you love. And she had one of the most successful businesses you could ever imagine.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, you worked with princes and kings, haven't you, as well? Am I right in that?
Yeah, I did. I try all kinds of weird and wacky things. So I tried doing an email shot one time, and I sent it out to CEOs in the Middle East, and everyone said it's not going to work. I got two great things that happened. One, it got me onto Dubai FM, which I tried every method of getting onto. Cold email, right time, right copywriting, right place. And then I got another one. Young lady phoned and she said, I'm the personal assistant to the CEO of the biggest construction company. Can you come and do some presentation skills training? I said, yeah, that's cool. About a week later, she said, actually, it's just one-on-one with our CEO. Can you do that? I said, sure. Another week goes by and she phones and she says, we've checked you out, which means I've looked at your website, I've looked at your LinkedIn, I've looked at your Facebook. There's no drunken pictures there. And we're going to take you on, but I haven't told you the whole truth. He's not only the CEO of the biggest construction company, he's also the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and soon to be Deputy Prime Minister. And I had 2 days working with him, which was absolutely amazing in the Royal Palace in Abu Dhabi.
Wow.
But the one thing, Phil, that changed my life over there, I learned a big lesson. At the end of 2 days, I pulled out my camera and I did a 2-minute video testimonial, put that onto YouTube, put it onto my website. And about 3 months later, I started getting phone calls from all over the Middle East saying, we saw you working with the Crown Prince. Can you come in and work with us? And they've flown me into Saudi, all kinds of countries. I've had to sign all kinds of forms that I won't disclose who I'm working with.
Yeah.
What I would say to every financial advisor is get video testimonials. If you say you're good, nobody believes it. If your clients say you're good in a video testimonial, incredibly powerful.
Yeah, that was something I wanted to ask you about. Now, you've been on YouTube for about 12 years, and what's really noticeable about your content on YouTube is just consistent. And it seems to be made up of 3 different areas as far as I can see. 1, video testimonials.
Yep.
Just endless short video testimonials. Secondly, tips, business tips, sales tips, social media tips, simple stuff. And thirdly, pictures of jazz musicians on street corners.
That's it. I try and find great jazz musicians wherever I can. And I've got one more area, which is what you're doing at the moment, which is expert interviews. Please go and take a look at my channel, which is called Sales Tips. And look at the expert interviews. There are incredible people there like W. Mitchell, Alvin Law, just some phenomenal people talking about attitude and how they become successful.
Yeah. Talk us through the testimonials thing, because a lot of financial advisors, there's a lot of pressure on them. You should be using YouTube, you should be doing podcasting, you should be doing everything, and they have to kind of filter this stuff out. But you've always been a great advocate of video testimonials, haven't you? Oh,
yeah, and you've got to get the video testimonials right. And I went to somebody the other day and they said, take a look at this video testimonial. It went something like this: hi, I'm Mike, this company is fantastic. And I said, everything's wrong. Mike could actually be working for you. So the way you set up a video testimonial, the first 30 seconds is that person giving the elevator speech, who they are, what they do, how they help other businesses. The next minute they talk about you, but ask them to not use words like fantastic or amazing. Rather say, by using Phil, I've increased my portfolio by 2 million in 5 years, or try and get some concrete kind of stuff out of that, and then they finish off again with who they are and what they do. And that little format works brilliantly.
Right. And you try and get a video testimonial wherever you go. And you're just using your phone, aren't you?
Yeah, I use my phone, and I've got another little camera called the Zoom Q4, tiny little camera. And the one thing that I find is you've got to have great sound. That's the most important thing. And sometimes if you've got your phone and there's some background noise, it's not going to be that great. So either get yourself an iRig microphone that you just go onto your phone or your iPad, or take a look at the little Zoom Q4. They brought out the Zoom Q8, so you can get that one under $200. And really what it is, it's a microphone with the video built into it. Absolutely fantastic little piece of kit.
Oh, I'll look out for that. That sounds fantastic. And what other sort of video content could advisors be looking at? One thing I noticed about your videos is they're usually very short.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is I looked at YouTube, and YouTube did an analysis on the average watching time right across the board. And the average watching time is 36 seconds.
Right.
Now, that doesn't mean your video must be 36 seconds. It's all about content. If your content is great, I've watched webinars for 1 hour because the content was that good. It's all about the content. Don't have any waffle. Get in. Biggest mistake I see on most videos, there's no call to action. So get in with a great intro, and you can get great intros done at places like Fiverr. Have great content, and then have that call to action. But at the end of every video as well, tell people to share, to comment, and encourage them to take part in that, because YouTube looks at about 15 different things to promote it, and some of those things are people liking, commenting, sharing it, and that kind of thing.
Are there any particular techniques or tricks that work that we should be thinking about on YouTube? Is it as simple as putting hashtags on? Because you kind of dominate search results largely with your YouTube content.
Yeah, so what happens, Phil, is by the way, I've got a YouTube course if anyone's interested that I've just launched that tells you exactly what to do. But what I tend to do is I've got a process. Everything I do is process driven. So I've sort of got 10 points. So the first thing I would do is I go and I research other videos in that market. So like I'm a financial advisor, go and look at others, and I look at those that are doing pretty well. And then I've got a couple of secret methods where I get in and find out what keywords or tags they're using. So I pull some of the tags that may be relevant, go in, make my video, pardon me, upload it to YouTube. And then I go in. The important thing is you've got to make it visible for Google and YouTube. So you've got to have your keywords in the title. You've got to have them in the description. You've got to have them in the tags. Write a long description, because that's where Google is picking up everything. Most people don't have a long description. Very first line has got to be a link back to your website.
Right.
Have other links right throughout the description and have keywords right throughout it. So I'm working with a couple of big companies in America at the moment. They're absolutely amazing. They've spent tens of thousands on videos, but they're not getting views. First thing I noticed is they don't have the keywords, so they're not picked up straight away. Second thing I noticed is they're in the wrong category. So they're a software company and they're in comedy, which just goes against every grain for YouTube. They're just never going to promote something like that. You know, they're saying, if you can't get the basics right, we're just not going to promote you.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, and what sort of other content do you think that advisors could do? So we've got video testimonials, which are great. What sort of things do you think could work well for an advisor?
Tips, video tips, 30-second tips, and make it consistent, like every Friday, your 30-second tips. You could also have what is happening in the markets, you know, once a month, just a video of what's happening in the markets, which markets are working, which ones aren't working. And then you could have simple things like how to choose the right financial advisor. And Phil, you're big on copywriting using numbers, you know, 3 biggest mistakes people make in choosing a financial advisor, 5 things to consider before you choose your financial advisor. The main thing with the videos is don't try to sell. People already know who you are and what you do. Just make it fantastic, valuable content.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is, I don't know if you've seen, Phil, Tie Insurance.
No?
So Tie Insurance tells stories, and people love stories. So for everyone watching, just go into YouTube and type in Tie Insurance. Also get a big box of tissues. Their videos are out of this world. And what they do is they tell stories. They have music. It is very emotional. And all that they promote at the end is just say, Tie Insurance, basically the good guys. And they've just taken off. What really they're saying is, we care about people. People see the videos and they say, well, that's the company I like. I'm going to do business with them.
Yeah. One thing I noticed about your videos as well is you're not afraid to throw in the odd curved ball video as well, like your famous Christmas mince pie tasting test.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I have all kinds of weird and wacky videos. Wherever I am, I'm taking videos. So my mince pie test was really great. And then just recently, I've got my phone and my camera with me everywhere. I was at a beautiful resort in Mexico. And I'm also massive into customer services. And I noticed my bed every day at this resort was superbly made. And I'm lying at the beach one day and I hear a whole lot of shouting and all kinds of things going on and music playing and pumping like a big competition. So I go and investigate. And what this resort does, they've actually got 4 hotels. Once a month, they have a bed making contest. So each hotel has all of their team dressed up in different colors. They have a compare. They have 2 beds and the people are up there and their teams are shouting for them. So I got my camera out, I videoed it. And now in my presentations, when I talk about great customer care, I say, how are you rewarding all of your people? So always try and catch the great little things. There's many moments that we can find everywhere.
Yeah.
If you're a financial advisor and you go to a conference, there are going to be incredible speakers at that conference. When somebody comes off that stage, grab them and say, can I do a video interview with you? Do that video interview, send that out to all of your clients, and let's just say, you know, I've had an expert interview with someone on funds and what's happening on the emerging markets or whatever. That goes out. It's really relevant to them. So please, every time you go to a conference, get out that phone or camera.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that tip. Thank you very much. Now, something else that you do, which is kind of music to my ears, which I've been for a long time saying to financial advisors, this is something they could be doing, is you like to take your knowledge and expertise and turn that into other products. So it's not just about standing on a stage or doing training. You're doing online courses, ebooks, webinars, and they're really easy to create, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. Every one of you has so much knowledge. You're an expert in what you're doing. And think about taking those and turning those into courses. So again, if anyone's interested, just drop me an email, frank@frankfurness.com. I have a whole course on how to use social media in business, 185 videos, 12 ebooks at $99 a month. So think about how you can create something like that. But equally, I have different funnels and people that are where I'm an expert in. So I'm doing one for financial advisors. I'm doing one for the health and fitness business. I'm doing one for CEOs. And the more targeted you can be, the better it's going to be.
Yeah.
I remember a great financial advisor friend of mine in America that was a huge, huge hitter, used to run courses at the local university for the local business people on what they should be doing. Didn't try and sell anything, but brought in the experts to speak about trust, speak about financial advising. And by the end of the 5-week course, people were saying, well, my financial advisor hasn't told me any of that kind of stuff. Can you come in and help me? So if you can create courses around that where people go in and see you as the expert, then your market isn't only London or Dallas or wherever you are. You've got the whole world as your market, and your successes can be shared right across the planet.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what a lot of people call passive income. You create the thing once, you finesse it, and then it's out there. And of course, we're not giving financial advice, we're not putting out financial promotions. This is expertise repackaged.
Absolutely, and every one of you out there watching this is an expert in something. So when I was doing full-time financial advice, I specialized in selling to millionaires and selling to wealthy people. So there was a whole process, firstly, of how you get in front of them, how you approach them. They have very little time. They have a very short attention span. And I had to learn exactly how to deal with these kind of people.
Yeah.
They would take me into a boardroom. There was no small talk. You had to get straight into it. First thing I asked them was, how much time have you set aside? So there's a whole process in selling to those people. Now, if you're in that market, you can go out there and sell something like that, your expertise in that. Another way you can do is, let's say you're in business insurance. We used to do a lot in business insurance. You could even put something together for people out there on sort of buy and sell insurance, partnership insurance, some of the things that will happen to your business if you don't have it. You could even put that out there for free, or $7 or $10. But again, people are going to see you as the expert. So that's going out to potential clients. The other one you can put together is to other financial advisors sharing your expertise. So there's a huge market out there, Phil.
Yeah, I agree. I've got to ask you about, I know what your answer is going to be, but the benefits of advisors getting on stage and speaking. Now, we're starting to see more and more financial planners doing this now. It could be at local seminars. Quite often they go to MDRT over in the States. And, one or two of them, the bug is biting them. And it's not everyone's cup of tea, public speaking, but you would probably argue it's the most phenomenal way to get your expertise out there and get paid for doing it.
Absolutely, and you're in front of your targeted audience. So again, as a financial advisor, think of two audiences, other financial advisors and also potential clients. So potential clients, there's an organization called Vistage or Tech, which is the world's biggest CEO organization. There must be 2,000 or 3,000 groups. I speak to them. They don't pay much, but I'm in front of 20 buyers, and I normally pick up 2 or 3 jobs from them. So if you could put together a workshop for CEOs and again, don't make it salesy. Just make it good practical advice. Some of the things they've got to be doing in their business, things they've got to put into place, things that could happen if they don't have it in place. Go and speak to those kind of groups. You're going to find 2 or 3 of those people over their business owners that are going to say, my financial advisor's never told me that. Can you come and tell me?
Yeah, yeah. I know there are quite a few financial advisors these days are looking to try and get out of the regulated environment, yet they're still passionate about helping people achieve their goals, their life goals, their financial goals. And 1 or 2 of them are really beginning to realize that actually you can do this through speaking. You just share your knowledge, share your expertise, and you don't need to be regulated to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the regulation now, people are so bogged down. You've almost become an accountant rather than, salesman. And we are, at the end of the day, we are out there selling. Some people hate that word, but at the end of the day, that's what we're doing. We're helping people to set up their futures. So I would say to a lot of you, go to something like Toastmasters and learn the basics of speaking, get confident with it, then join your local speakers association, go and watch some of the people, see what they're doing, get somebody to mentor you, get someone to help you. And again, Phil and I are always there. We always put in courses together for people like yourselves. But if you can get on stage and get in front of the right kind of audiences. So again, an example here was I spoke to the Chemical Association, and there was maybe 500 people in the audience. Think about it, if you had to go there, and speak about trusts or goal setting or financial goals, really, not financial planning, you've got 500 people sitting there looking at you saying, this guy's an expert in what he does. Let me actually get him and come in and see me. And then you're in front of that right target audience. The old days, like I started, cold calling is dead and gone. That's never going to happen again. Referrals even are more difficult. People are very reluctant to give referrals nowadays. You've got to know exactly how to do it. And I know your course with your interview with Bill Cates is brilliant. There's some great ideas on that over there. But the biggest thing is, how do you get in front of your potential buyers? And the best way to do that is getting on stage in front of your target audience.
Yeah, and it's a proven model as well. I know, particularly in the States, quite a few years ago, there were a lot of financial planners who were looking at their business model and realizing it wasn't hugely popular. They were profitable. They were doing okay, but they were realizing that many of their clients weren't profitable. And they didn't want to leave the profession. They wanted to still keep helping people. So many of them just started putting on financial planning seminars, speaking to local groups. And it goes right from little small local seminars to people like Nido Qubein filling stadiums.
Absolutely. If you're a good speaker, you're going to be in demand. People will pay you a lot of money. And then again, even if you still love your financial planning, but you don't actually want to be involved in it all the time, you could set up affiliate programs with other financial advisors in the area. So you go in, you talk to the audience say, well, that's absolutely brilliant. What do I do? And you send them over there. So what I do now is I speak about internet marketing, social media in business. And then a lot of people came and said, can you do that for me? And I said, no, I don't want to do that. I enjoy the speaking. I actually don't want to become an agency, but I do know some agencies. Let me refer you over there. They'll give me something for the referral, and it's a win-win for everybody. So you can do a similar kind of thing in what you're doing.
Yeah. Just sort of finally on social media, is there a trick to it, do you think, when it comes to financial advisors?
Yeah, well, again, people are looking for social proof nowadays. So if you want to get onto the first page of Google, if you type in sales technology speaker, you'll see I dominate that page. Everywhere I go in the world, I own that page. And there's a couple of reasons, because I'm constantly putting content out there. So you'll see every week I make a new video. I've got my own studio in Orlando. Most I've made is 52 videos in one day. So then I put out a video every week, and I have the right titles and tags for it to be picked up. But then I'm also on every other social media channel. And LinkedIn, as you know, Phil, is incredibly powerful. If you get your LinkedIn right, that's also pulled in now for the certain search terms. Another thing that I'm doing, Phil, as well, is I have a team in India now where I target market the people that I want to go and get in front of. So it might be owners of health and fitness clubs or CEOs in Gibraltar, where I'm doing a lot of work. And what he does, he goes, and I've showed him how to do the Boolean and advanced searches. He goes, he finds those kind of people. He goes in, he makes the introductions on LinkedIn. So he does 100 introductions a week for me. I'm on about 25,000. I believe you can go up to 30,000 people with LinkedIn. So he does about 100. And again, it's the old law of averages. Yeah. About 30 come back and connect with me. 3 turn into real, true connections where I get something going. And about 1 will turn into a piece of business. It was the old 20 people for 1 sale.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting how it all sort of comes around full circle, just you're doing it in a different way?
It's just activity. I was in Johannesburg last week, and I was speaking to a huge company over there, and I've worked with them 3 or 4 times. And their top salesman, I always want to find out what makes a great salesperson. And he says he actually comes in an hour early every day, and he does 20 connections on LinkedIn every day. And it's that kind of activity that you've got to be doing. The old things, you can't only become a financial advisor now, you've got to become a marketer as well. You've got to learn marketing techniques. You've got to get blogs out there. You've got to get videos out there. You've got to do LinkedIn marketing. You've got to be on Facebook. So there's 2 things you've got to do, what I call push-pull marketing. The first thing is you've got to push great content out there in terms of videos and all kinds of stuff. The pull marketing is where you actually go and look for the kind of people you want to get in front of, feed them some great content, they see you as the expert, and then they'll come to you.
Yeah, yeah. Frank, this is absolutely fantastic. We could talk all day, but I'm very conscious of your time. So thank you so much for being with me today. Now, one of the things we're doing is we're asking all of our guests if they could set a challenge for our financial advisor viewers. It could be something short and simple, or something really big that they might want to take on over the next year. What would be your challenge?
Okay, my challenge to every one of you, in the old days we were taught to get referrals, and we know we still get that, but what I want you to do is I want you to get one video testimonial per month, just one a month. So find somebody that really likes you, and you've got them in your client base right now. Just go to them and say to them, can I do a video testimonial? The great thing about it is if you screw up, you just take it again, and give them those three things: who you are, what you do, where they talk about you again, who they are and what they do. Try and get those and then feed those out, one a month. I mean, if you could do more, that's great. But my challenge to you is one video testimonial per month. When you get that, it goes onto your website, goes onto YouTube, goes onto Vimeo, goes onto LinkedIn, goes onto Facebook, and it goes into your vlog.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Frank, thank you so much for being with me today. Really do appreciate it. So where can people find you if they want to go on one of your courses?
Okay, so I run a lot of courses. Please drop me an email. I'll let you know all about them, which is frank@frankfurness, FRANKFURNESS.com. Take a look at my website, frankfurness.com. Also, link up with me on LinkedIn and the other social. But also, if you want to find out about the videos, go to my channel, which is youtube.com/sales tips, SALESTIPS.
And congratulations for managing to get that that URL. That's a prize one, isn't it?
And I've got quite a few others. I've got some brilliant ones right up front. I've got travel tips and quite a few others.
Haven't you got a dog training one as well somewhere? Or that's for another day?
Oh, that's for another day. So that's another thing. I used to love dog training, and I'm selling affiliate programs on dog training. So
Fantastic.
we've got the whole world out there, Phil. As you know, there's just huge potential.
I think that's the amazing thing. We're only limited by our own imaginations when it comes to the internet, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely. On next Saturday, I'm off to my place in Orlando for 2 months, and all I'm going to sit and do is create content and create programs.
Fantastic. Frank Furness, thank you so much for being with me today. Thank you to everybody else for watching this. At the end of this video, you'll have the opportunity to join the private forum where you can take up Frank's challenge and other people's challenges. You can report back on how you're getting on, and you can ask questions and get accountability partners. So in the meantime, one final thank you to Frank Furness. Great to see you, Frank.
Thanks so much, Phil. Great being on the program, and to all of you, thanks for watching.
Thanks a lot, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.